Welcome back to Real Health. Thanks so much for staying with us. Now, one of the most common digestive complaints affecting many people is irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS. Classic symptoms like bloating, constipation, and excessive gas can cause discomfort and a feeling of being unwell. It can also be quite embarrassing, some people have shared with me. So our second feature from the Real Health Medicine Cabinet is a supplement that can assist with relieving IBS symptoms. But before we tell you all about it, we have Rory Jean-Jacques in studio to tell us more about what we can do to manage and treat IBS naturally. Yeah, some people just tend to become hermits. They don't want to go out because everything they eat affects them. You know what I mean? It's just they feel uncomfortable. Their clothing doesn't fit them the same way.
Get very bloated.
They get so bloated.
Everything that you eat, you react to.
Yeah, and you just
pass gas.
Yes.
You just don't feel great.
Yeah.
It's something that I've dealt with personally myself. When I was extremely sick during my school years, I went on several courses of antibiotics. My hands went yellow from the jaundice.
Wow.
Completely wrecked my digestive ecology. Then you start to get issues with candida, sensitivities to food and things like that. And so with IBS, which is called irritable bowel syndrome, okay, it's actually a syndrome of symptoms. It's not very easily diagnosed. It's one of the very, very common things that I see in my practice with people. My patients have got a range of different symptoms which vary from cramping, bloating, pain, wind, gas, watery stools. Can sometimes have mucus and blood in your stools as well. You can alternate constipation and diarrhea. There are three different types.
Yeah, because that's where people start to get confused.
This is where,
right?
because you can get that cramping and spasming, and you've got gas and you've got wind, but you're passing stools every 2 or 3 days. That is a form of IBS, but then you can have it where you have very, very loose stools. You eat bread, or you have alcohol, or you have very acidic or spicy foods, and your system just reacts and you get an extremely loose stool.
Yeah.
And then you can get the combination of both of them.
Yeah.
And that's your gut being very reactive to what's coming in. Stress is a major, major factor with IBS. And the things that eat the gut lining, gluten is one of the main causes, casein from commercial dairy.
What about corn?
Corn, genetically modified corn. Most of our corn in South Africa is genetically modified.
Yeah.
It creates an inflammation in the gut lining. But the corn is also sprayed with glyphosate. So a lot of people are very, very sensitive to the glyphosate, which they use as a desiccant. And what that does is it alters how the actual permeability of the membranes.
Those tight junctions.
The tight junctions, the zonula. And it also alters your gut flora. So there's so many things which is salt, our gut flora, which is central to digestion. So when you're getting gas and bloating, your food is not digesting, it's fermenting. Why is that? Because you don't have the right bacteria to digest your food, and you may have pathogenic overgrowth. So there can be parasitic involvement. Candida is a major factor, and there are a whole range of other different types of bacteria that come into that.
Yeah.
With IBS, they've also been looking at doing things like fecal transplants.
Yes.
So they actually take a healthy ecology and they implant it. So a lot of people will take a range of different things like probiotics and things, but you need anywhere of 100 billion upwards per day to try and shift your ecology, and you need a very wide variety. Antibiotics, you'll find a lot of my patients, they'll go on 1 or 2 courses of antibiotics, and a few months later they start developing, they can't eat wheat, develop a sensitivity, and the gluten creates a major reaction in the gut lining, and people eliminate that, they feel phenomenal in their mood, in their energy levels, in a whole range of different things.
So I've been reading IBS, IBD, what are the differences?
So IBS is irritable bowel syndrome, which is a range of symptoms. IBD is irritable bowel disorder. So that's where you'll start moving to things like colitis, Crohn's disease, where you're getting this autoimmune reaction where your immune system is attacking your lining. Now you've got to ask yourself, why is your immune system attacking your gut lining?
Yeah.
What is parasitically there? What is coming in from a food aspect that your body is saying, I don't want this space age food. I don't want huge amounts of sugar. I don't want alcohol, which is inflaming my gut lining. I don't want all of these highly reactive things. I don't want preservatives. I don't want colorants. I want clean, natural, healthy food, which is not treated with hormones, which is not treated with antibiotics.
Yeah. So it's your body is crying out, actually, for you to listen so that you can make some adjustments? What are the first adjustments that you give to people?
So the first adjustments is to eliminate gluten in all its form. That's rye, that's oats, that's bread, that's pasta, that's pastries, it's all the amazing stuff.
I'm so glad you said oats, because I see so many people saying, I'm gluten intolerant, but I can have gluten-free oats.
And they end up having similar symptoms.
Yeah.
Things, alcohol, commercial dairy, sugar, you want to also be avoiding things like shellfish. In some instances, fiber can make it worse, and in some instances, fiber can make it better. So it's very important to see a practitioner to try and understand that, what you need to do. You also want to exercise a little bit. Okay, you want to try and manage your stress. Okay, stress plays a major factor. You have a lot of people that get very nervous and then they've got to run to the loo, because their gut the gut is so linked with nerve cells that it becomes so reactive.
That vagus nerve runs, directly there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Then people start to have stress and anxiety, psychiatric issues, depression, because 80% of your brain chemicals are produced in your gut lining. So this is why people feel so much better when they go on probiotics. Now they're probiotics and they're probiotics and they're probiotics. 95% of them don't work efficiently.
What about rice? Because rice in a cold form can be a nice prebiotic, but cooked.
So rice is probably one of the most inert foods that you can take.
Okay.
But you'll find people that have a very reactive digestive system, when they start reacting to anything.
Yeah.
So the key is to heal the gut lining. So we work with things like glutamine, slippery elm, chamomile, fennel. Start working with digestive enzymes, plus a probiotic. So
when you say digestive enzymes, are you saying just the digestive enzymes or stomach acid as well?
So in many instances with people that have lower bowel issues, they have a hyperchloridia, so they don't produce enough stomach acid, upwards, or they don't produce enough digestive enzymes, so they can't digest their food.
Yeah.
So we assess on that. In most instances I don't, because it can be quite inflammatory, the digestive system. So I tend to work with probiotics and healing the gut lining, and then working with herbs to help the body produce its own digestive enzymes.
Okay.
So we start working with things like certain bitters. We start working with ginger and a little bit of gentian. Sometimes Sweden bitters is a very, very good tonic.
Yes.
And if you can combine that with something called DGL licorice, as well as aloe vera gel, you're soothing and you're healing and you're improving digestion. That just in itself, I've watched it work magic. And digestive issues is one of the main things that I treat with my patients, probably the number one thing.
Do you believe that is there a genetic predisposition to it?
So in many patients, mom had it, then the little one has it. So genetic expression can definitely be a 20 to 25 percentile of that.
Okay.
But normally the little one has inherited the same ecology from mom, and is also eating the same way.
Foods and the same way.
And the same types of things.
Has the same disposition perhaps to stress or whatever it is.
Exactly. Learned behaviors and how they react to certain things. So that can certainly be from a genetic point of view, but there's so many things that you can do in terms of just shifting diet, lifestyle, the right supplementation, where you can completely clear it. But in my case, I don't eat gluten. I don't have it because my system reacts to it. So it's not something that people need to be eating.
I find that if I do look after my gut, I tolerate it better. But I eventually get to the point where I'm like, no, this is not working for me.
So you can have it once in a while. Have a pizza, have a burger, have that. So you'll be fine. You'll be able to have it, but you'll notice immediately that you start to get those symptoms and those reactions. So
You mentioned commercial milk.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
So commercial dairy has 40 times the amount of estrogen that it should. Okay. Number one, what they feed the cows. Number two, what they treat them with hormones and antibiotics. You're not getting a food the way that it's pasteurized and the way that it's treated and the way that it's heat treated. What it comes through is something extremely undigestible by the body. Whereas if you start to look at grass-fed and the way that it tastes completely different, it behaves completely different, it is the food. It is not something that's been completely stripped and changed and modified, through the process of extreme pasteurization. So the casein in the milk creates a major reaction. And because there have been a whole bunch of other immune factors and colostrums and stuff removed from it, commercial milk is very, very reactive to gut lining. And you'll find just removing that lowers inflammation in big way.
What are healthy foods that, we know them to be good for us, but if you've got IBS or if you've got an irritated gut, perhaps steer clear of them for now until that lining is
goji
healed.
berries tend to have, so the seeds in the goji berries, as well as the goji berry in itself, tends to be very, very high in lectins. So it's similar to that nightshade family, which are your potatoes and your tomatoes. So they tend to be quite inflammatory. Cocoa is very, very high in oxalates, and to an extent, tannins. So it's quite harsh and quite difficult for your digestive system to absorb. So you want to start looking at much softer foods. You want to be using things like bone broth.
That's so incredibly soothing for the gut.
It's so healing because you're getting the gelatine.
You can feel it actually.
You can just feel it and the nourishment that you get from that. You want to be using grass-fed butter because you're getting butyrate in there. You're getting vitamin K. You're getting all this nutrition. You want to be using things like kimchi, sauerkraut. You want to be avoiding things like apple cider vinegar and various forms of vinegars, and you want to be avoiding harsh spices, like specifically chili. Turmeric and ginger and cinnamon you'll find really good for anti-inflammatory and soothing. But
Okay. Well, the Real Health team tried IBS Relief and we were very impressed with it. And so we've added it to our Real Health medicine cabinet. We're going to talk about it now with Rory. In fact, one of our producers tried it and felt a change in relief immediately, Is that something that you hear a lot about?
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of the time when people have got that discomfort, that spasming and that cramping and that bloating, you want relief quite quickly.
Yeah, you do.
Within 30 minutes to half an hour. So the improvement that you'll get with that is phenomenal. And what's great about this formulation is that it addresses IBS from multiple angles.
Okay.
From healing the mucus lining, improving digestion and absorption from the liver as well as the pancreas, reducing cramping, bloating, drying up mucus, helping with that gut stress brain connection. So it's got chamomile and catnip and lavender, which is very soothing and anti-spasmodic. It's got things like marshmallow and slippery elm. It's got the artichoke, which helps with the digestion and the absorption, any type of food allergies that you might be having. The fennel in there stops. It's very warming and soothing for the digestive system. So it needs to be, IBS needs to be addressed from multiple angles. And if you can combine that with an extremely good probiotic from the same range, for example, Neoflora, you get a very, very, and then you can add in something like glutamine or aloe gel, the inner leaf gel.
Who can children take it? Can teenagers take it?
So children certainly, from 5 upwards, a capsule a day, even a capsule twice a day is very, very effective. All ages, There's no different. There's no major contraindications or anything like that. No major interactions with any medications.
Okay. Where can people get it?
So it's available at health shops and pharmacies across South Africa. It's also available on neogenhealth.com and from scentedsecrets.co.za.